Alright, what's up guys? I'm back. I'm gonna do a little video here on these are some muscadine vines, I guess, that I've cut off from our friend's muscadine, but got my terrapin here. Cryophonic. It's actually pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the IPAs, not my favorite, but you know what? It works and it's good and it's tasty. So we're gonna drink a beer and we're gonna put some plants in the ground because what better way to do things? Alright, so you notice I got a bunch of them. I don't know how many I got here. Too many, but see, I got a bunch of them. They're long. The reason they're long is because I can get multiple rootings out of each thing. Now I'll show you. I'll cut them in half basically. But these are some muscadines. I cut them at the end of end of February. It's now beginning of March, so they've been in water for a couple days here. Anyway, you're supposed to take your cuttings in the winter. The plants are dormant. For most of you, late February is still the throes of winter. Down here in Georgia, it's not so, but it's when I did it, and we'll see what happens. These are some purple and some yellow muscadines. I don't know the names. I don't care the names much. I know that they produce fruit, and I know the fruit is yummy, and I like to add to some of the ones that I have. So, all right. So first thing I'm pulling out. Now, this one's broken on the end. You can see I didn't do that, but that's okay. I cut them so I know which end is the ground end and which end is the top end. And I know that they grow from here up to this way. And you can tell by looking at these nodes, that's where you'll get leaves will come out. If they kept growing, there'll be more vines would come out. Likewise, when I put this in the ground, the nodes are going to be where most of your roots are produced. So you want to consider that when you're cutting them. If you don't think you're going to remember which end is up, label them. But for the most part, you can tell they kind of grow upwards, right? You don't have many branches, right? If it looked like that, it'd be kind of goofy if your branches were growing downward. Anyway, so that's that. I cut most of them. I gave myself a fair bit between the last cut and the first node. That's because when I go to plant these, I want to cut off some of this last little bit here. It hasn't been too long, so it probably hasn't scabbed over too much, but I want to cut that and get that fresh. Now, ideally, when you got your pot of dirt, I'm going to be able to put it down. I don't want it to go all the way to the ground. Ideally, I can get 2, maybe 3 nodes in there, if I'm lucky, and give myself a couple nodes at the top. That means, as you can see, let's go ahead and cut the bottom end of this off. So we have got my shears here, pruning shears. Sharp pruning shears are worth everything. So there you go. I cut it off. You see, it's actually a little bit greener than that. Kind of tell. Can you tell? Maybe not. Anyway, so there you go. That's gonna go there. So let's see. I got 1, 2, and the third node up. Can I get that in the ground without hitting the bottom? And I can. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna go 2 nodes up. So 1, 2, and I'm gonna cut it right there. So this is 1. That will go in the ground as 1. This one, if I cut it up here, I'm not going to get anything out of it. So I'm just going to cut this break off at the top and call that a day. And so that vine that I cut, that gave me 2. And I think I'm going to go 3 to a pot just because I don't feel like having a million pots. And to be honest, sometimes I don't, it's 50-50. I've done well with rosemary and thyme. I tried to root some mulberries last year. They didn't work. I have rooted some muscadines from the woods. But I kind of like to, I'd rather put too many in a pot and have to sort out the roots afterwards. So this one I'll get 2 out of as well. Okay, so there we go. I got my 3. got my rooting hormone. Some people like to use rooting hormone. Some people don't. I guess it's a personal preference. That is good beer. I don't know. Some people tell you that using this, the plants that you're growing are not the strongest. Because if I got one to root that didn't use rooting hormone, the theory is, well, I can take cuttings from that and they're more likely to grow without rooting hormone. If I grow one with rooting hormone, the reason it survived is because of the rooting hormone. So I'm going to need rooting hormone to root the next crop. Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I use it. I don't care what anybody says. So I take this in. Probably ought to get another container, but there's my 2 nodes. Yeah, I gotta get another container to dip this in, but that's okay. Alright, so I got my 2 nodes covered there. This 3rd node will go in the dirt, but it's not going to get hormone on it, so I'm going to push it down in, straight in, not quite to the bottom. Kind of tamp it down a little bit around there. As you can see, I'm using just potting mix right now. If they take, I will transplant them into something else eventually, but I've found with other soils, with natural soils, with soils out of the woods, with even the garden soils and stuff you get from the store, I don't know. They're not my favorite. I feel like I've had mixed results, and I've done better with just straight potting soil. Probably telling myself lies, but I don't know if that has something to do with like there's bacteria or something. I don't know. Anyway, that works. So there we go. 2 nodes covered, all this space in between covered, and in the pot it goes. Okay, and the last one, which way were we growing? Okay, growing that way up. And I'm going to dip it in some water first, get it wet so the hormone sticks a little bit better. It'll still stick, but it doesn't stick the best. So if it's wet, it'll stick a little bit better. Knock the excess off, put it in the ground. Don't want to go all the way to the bottom. Keep their feet a little dry, prevent any rotting of that bottom stem. If this is sitting in water at the bottom, or it's getting all that moisture, and the roots, it's going to start rotting, and I want to avoid that decay before the roots get going. So there you go. It's 3 of my muscadines. I will stick a label in them and put them kind of, I have a north side facing well house that I put things behind. They can get some sun in the morning and late afternoon because of the way the shadows fall, but in the heat of the day, they're tucked away, and that's good for me down here because when it gets 100 degrees outside, got to keep these guys wet. So it saves me a little bit of effort there, but and here we are, all done. I did them all. 27 all until, so who knows? Some of them are taller, some are short stubbies. But the fact of the matter is I got 27 cuttings out of that handful, and hopefully some of them will take. And I have muscadines. And if I end up with too many, I can sell them at the farmer's market. I can give them away to friends. I can plant them all over near the woods and let them go and see if they can survive a little feral. Who knows? So yeah, there you go. Quick and dirty muscadines. Grow them, don't grow them. I imagine they root the same as a grape would root. Unfortunately, I can't really grow grapes down here. There are a couple of varieties that some people have kind of had luck with. I think they're more like a grafted hybrid, maybe. I don't know, but I have no interest in grapes. Muscadines are just fine. So anyway, I should have another one of these guys up. I'm going to do some herbs, oregano, thyme, rosemary, stuff like that, and should be good.